Hello everybody, my name is Poison Ducky, and today we're going to have a Total War 3 Kingdoms video. And this video is going to be focused on what we do in multiplayer and how the system works, so let's get right into it. Man, I've been having so much fun in this game. I just love Guan Yu, Lu Bu, oh god, Cacao. I love this setting, especially ever since I played Dynasty Warriors as a little kid. But let's get into how multiplayer works. Now we're going to use, for the sake of just showing it, we're going to go into custom battle and see how everything works. Alright, so if you, in terms of competitive and how the settings are, your funds will be on large. The time limit for any match will be 20 minutes, and the setting of difficulty will be normal, but that doesn't really matter when you're fighting a human opponent. The difficulty setting is only for AI. Now the base mode for competitive or ranked and just custom battles is romance mode. So this means your generals will be one man and woman armies. They are essentially generals from Total War Warhammer. It's more so the armies are supporting your generals instead of your generals are supporting your army. So, unless you pick a strategist, in which case they're just like really winky. Really, really weak. So over here, when we have large funds, we're going to have 125,000 funds, or gold, I suppose. Over at Ultra will be 150,000. Medium will be 100,000, and small will be 75,000. But let's focus on large since this is going to be the competitive fun being given. And let's go over here and get the maps. Now, the maps is really interesting. So if you look at the red markers is what other people that are playing in custom battles or online are choosing to fight. And what's interesting about choosing your map is it's essentially if you imagined a Minecraft world or some sort of world where it's generated, and you choose that same world, and if you just put you select a spot, like right there, and it'll show you the map of what's happening there, and like what the terrain is. And the thing is, when you come back, let's say you're done fighting that, when you come back to that area, it's the exact same map. So as we progress through the lifetime of 3 Kingdoms, people are going to find their favorite maps along the map of China. So another one that's pretty popular, like I would say, there's like choke point battles over here in the mountains. If you want a more foresty oriented battle, I'm sure if you can find one, there's forest over here. That's a very forest oriented map. So as you can see, you can choose, and after you choose, you can see the X and Y axis coordinate, and you can mark your map as favorites. So like, man, today I really liked this area, so I'll mark it as a favorite and save the coordinates. You also have decisions to choose which season it is: summer, spring, harvest, autumn, or winter. You can choose what time of day it is, and you can kind of choose the weather. Although these do have effects on your, I believe, like visibility during rain and certain different aspects during weather. I believe the only thing that switches in ranked mode will be the season. And of course you can choose between land battles, walled siege battles, town resources battles, and ambush battles like normal. And of course, since there's such a wide variety of maps that can be chosen on this very vast map, there's going to be some map presets that are going to be used in ranked battles. So like Woo-Doo, and it goes over there. Or Yulin, and all the way down here. So, fairly simple, but very interesting in that in the diversity of maps. And kudos to CA. I really think this is a fun, interesting way to create maps and find maps that you really will enjoy. Back into the armies tab. Let's get into how we make armies and how I think this is very interesting and how the metagame is going to grow in this game on creating your armies. So as you can see, you have 3 retinues per your army, and each retinue is commanded by one of your generals. Now let's, for the sake of things, choose like one of my favorites, Zhengjian. She is the Bandit Queen. And if you pay attention, she starts at 500 funds. She costs 500 funds to employ her as your general. And there's an option to upgrade her, spending to 1,000 and up to 1,500 funds. Now let's go back to 500 and see why you would want to upgrade your hero. At 500, you have very baseline gear, military axe. Armor usually doesn't change among characters, so the armor usually stays the same, but like a baseline military axe and an average horse, or an average horse in this game would actually be below average since everything in scale is like above average. And you have abilities for the character are going to be locked. So the only one you have locked at 500, spending 500 funds, would be Tenacity of Steel, which is she increases her power the longer she fights. Very much like the Berserkers from Norska and Total Warhammer 1 and 2. But very powerful passive. I like it, especially when you put her in a duel, and then she may start out losing the duel, but as time passes, she will win the duel, and it's fun, and it really tricks opponents. But getting back into the army recruitment, at 500, you can only recruit certain types of units of her faction, right? You can't recruit her signature Fists of the Bandit Queen. You can't recruit the high tier units, the Azure Dragons, the Protectors of the Heaven, or the Defenders of Earth. And how do we do that? We upgrade her. 1,000. Oh, we can recruit the Fists of the Bandit, or we can recruit the Heavy Spear Guards. And if we even further upgrade her, you can recruit the high tier infantry, or high tier infantry or cav units, depending on which faction of the character. So let's go back to Warlord and see how she got better. So from Bandit, we had a military axe. If you go to Warlord, she now has a war axe, and she has a better horse. And of course, as you upgrade the general, they will get their abilities along with it. Along with the Warlord purchase, she now has the ability Binding Fury, which is just the splash damage attack that can be used in melee. It just increases her overall damage output. And the best thing about it is that now you can recruit her signature unit, the Fists of the Bandit Queen, which are just a axe infantry, a hybrid axe infantry, in that they have bows, can fire at range, and are very good at melee as well. The only problem is that they're very squishy to any enemy missile fire or cavalry charges. That's enough about the faction, though. So let's go to Bandit Queen and see how you can get the best infantry. And of course, you get her best abilities, like the Poison Blade, which is the ability to poison any enemy general, which quite powerful for gooning out an enemy. If you want to just go for general sniping, maybe Zhengjian would be the pick. All right, so let's see. We're going to recruit some units, and oh no, we only have 6 units and a general, but we still have funds left. And how do we fix this? We recruit another general or hero. Not sure which term is going to be used, but let's go with the DLC, the Yellow Turbans. And you can see we go through the entire process all over again. He's going to start out at his lowest tier. You can put more money into this general, and you get access to the best units of that faction. And that's what really makes this game interesting, in my opinion, for the multiplayer stats. You can mix and match any faction, any general of any faction into one army in multiplayer battles. So if you want the strengths of cavalry from, let's say, the best cavalry of Cacao, where is he? He is a commander. Let's say we get the best strengths of Cacao, like his leopard, heavy tiger, and leopard cavalry is some of the most powerful cavalry in this game, shock cavalry. And as far as I know, every time I've seen them on the battlefield, they just destroy anything. You can do the strengths of every faction, faction special units can be put into one army, and that's what's interesting. The only thing holding you back is your funds and how efficient you are at using your funds. So let's look here. But there is something to be noted. Most factions have overlapping units. So let's say like the bandits will have Saber Militia. the Cacao and his nation of Wei will have Saber Militia as well, but you'll have the Yellow Dragons, while you'll have the Hidden Axes and the Fists of the Bandit Queen. And as you can see, every leader has their own different roster, while there's still a lot of overlapping, like the Protectors of Heaven or the Defenders of Earth. That's what makes it very interesting. The metagame's going to evolve along, like, what is the most efficient combination of heroes. But here is another little thing that I'm not sure is, I'm not sure if this was, like, meant to be in the game, or if it was, like, a choice made by CA. But you can actually choose 3 of the same hero. Let's see here. You can choose 3 of the same hero. And if you go into battle with this, you would literally see 3 Sunrens. You just see them. So a little thing I'm a little afraid of is the cheese. It hasn't been found yet, but if we find a certain general in this vast roster of generals and commanders that is very good at killing enemy generals, like let's say we find the best one. It could be Sunren, it could be Zheng Jian, it could be Guan Yu. I don't see what's stopping players from just picking all of that one hero and cheesing out enemy lords, a goon squad, to be frank, because it's not very hard. While you are restricting your army composition, making a balanced army only using one of the army sets is actually not too hard. You have a front line. Let's go front line of Saber Militia, which almost every faction has. Some archers to be in the back line. This faction seems to have very powerful cavalry units, so let's use that to our advantage with the, let's see, Mercenary Cav, Lance Cav. Ooh, the Jade Dragon. That's a very high tier, 1,200 funds. Let's get 2 of those. High tier cavalry units. And we can get some skirmish action in here as well. And maybe we need some anti-large. Let's get some G militia. And there you go. We have a fairly balanced army over here, just with cavalry. Let's see, with 2,400 funds left, we can do some just normal. Let's go Raider cavalry. Actually, no. Mercenary cavalry. That just sounds cool. And then over here, we should upgrade our hero again. We have 450 rounds and maybe a few more archers. And there you go. You have a fairly balanced army. If you got to anti-large, you have your front line along with missiles and this faction's powerful heavy cavalry. Balanced army right there, using only one faction's army roster. Not very hard. A little worrying that you can choose one of 3 of the same leader. Well, back with that. Unit experience is returning in this game. You can spend gold to increase the veterancy of any unit, and they'll become quite powerful. But it's usually more efficient to just get more units, of course, or have instead of spending money to increase the veterancy, just get a higher tier unit. That's the general gist of how multiplayer works. I'm very excited to see how everyone's going to build their armies. Like, man, Guan Yu, along with the Bandit Queen, man, and along with the Yellow Turbans, like 3 very different army compositions, all combined into one army that you control. It's going to be very interesting. Now, if we look over the AI side, when you auto-generate an army, you'll see that how the AI starts is they always generate armies that if you put each retinue in a vacuum, they would be completely fine or actually kind of balanced. Like, let's look at this auto-generated army. A Saber Militia, 2G militia, which are just halberd infantry, as the front line, 2 archers, and a cav unit. Like, if you just sent this in a vacuum, it would be completely fine. Along with this one, same frontline format, 1 Saber, 2G militia, 1 archer militia, and 2 heavy crossbowmen. A rather balanced army, or retinue. Except this one has more focus on ranged. And then right here again, Saber Militia, Peasant Man, which is a worse light spear infantry instead of a light halberd infantry. And then the G infantry, which is just a medium halberd infantry, which is better than G militia. So a little bit more emphasis on the anti-large with this unit. 2 normal archers, and then another cav unit. So when you auto-generate armies, you'll find that they generate rather balanced, and as if what I like is that it's as if each general brings their own army onto the field, which is pretty cool when you're fighting AI. And I hope they do that into campaign. Well, I hope you liked the video. Leave a like if you do, and subscribe if you want more. My name's Poison Ducky, and I'll catch you guys later.